Great, with here is defensive line coach Robert Rodriguez at the Coaches Media Day. And Robert, what's the vibe around the defensive line compared to this time last year? I mean, still a lot of returning talent, but maybe some newcomers to integrate, especially in the interior. What's like your general feeling about this group right now?
There's a lot of energy right now. There's a good, the guys have bonded, so there's a togetherness in that room that's pretty encouraging. And one of the things that when I came here and trying to develop this room was trying to establish a little bit of continuity of guys who are confident in the scheme. So that's getting passed down now. So we got a lot more guys that have been in it. They know the ins and outs. They know when they go against our technique that it doesn't pay out. And so they're really, really helping the new guys come along quicker because they're saying, dude, it's not going to work out that way. Trust me, go this way. And we do have the guys who have come into the room have not come in here saying me. They've really bought in immediately. It's been a really good gelling of the two, and so we have a group that's together in there. So I'm excited about what we can get out of this after camp.
Was it a little frustrating in spring that like so many of the interior guys were not there available? I mean, do you feel like it's kind of maybe starting from square one, especially for that group of players, or do you feel like it's really not going to be that much of a learning curve once camp starts?
No, I'm always going to say we're starting from square one. I think when you don't do that, you miss out on all the little details that are important when you're building the foundation of who we're going to be. And so that's the thing you can get into. You got guys running your scheme for years. They know it. You're going to lose it. So we build it from the ground up every single year. But in terms of the spring and those guys, I didn't take it as a negative. I took it as a positive because there's a lot of young guys who got a lot of reps. And so we saw guys like Robbie and even Joe, who's been here, really took a big step in the right direction. And Ahmad Miller, for all intents and purposes, reignited his career in the spring because he showed a lot of people the improvement that he had made over the break, and he's continued. So now we look at him in terms of the depth chart in a different way, and we're hopefully potentially getting a guy who's going to be a quality contributor to our team, and that's all because of the spring.
You can always talk about hungry players this time of year, but I think maybe the hungriest player, not only in the defensive line, maybe the entire team, to me is Travis Moore. That guy looked like a caged lion when he was walking on the sidelines in spring, not being able to participate. Is there like maybe a fine line to like not be a little too overhyped when that first day of camp starts for a guy like Travis?
Yeah, and not just him. BJ Green's another guy who really didn't get anything, so he's all, like I said, he's like a firecracker with that thing coming, that thing's burning down to and Vez the same way. I think I love about Vez is he does love the game of football, and so when he's out of it, he feels it. And Vez also did a good job of looking at the year prior. He took a step back and Vez has matured as a person as well. His last couple months have been stellar. I think he didn't attack the rehab well enough at the beginning, and then now he's caught. Like I said, he learned from that. He kind of saw where he was headed, made that adjustment, and I think he's learned from seeing his mistakes and other people's mistakes, and understands this is it. So there's an urgency to him right now, not just that passion for being a part of the game, but there's an urgency of understanding, hey, look, this is the end of the line, and this is put up or shut up right now. And to his credit, he's done everything right, and I'm really happy for him because there's a lot of guys, when I was in the NFL, in the draft, that really shoot themselves in the foot off the field, or even the little things off the field. But I try to tell them that every single year there's a couple guys that get it right the last year. They figure it out, they become better men, and that momentum can take you into your next step of your career, and people want you to be a part of their team. So it's the opposite of that. And so you have the opportunity to write your own story. And so I'm excited about his urgency and so far where his mind has been and where his direction has been. But you're right, he's chomping at the bit. And you do have to kind of save them from themselves because they're trying to prove it every single day. Well, listen, we're still trying to make sure we're building this thing up. You're not trying to let them hurt themselves in the process.
It seems to me that you have a lot of guys in your group that are on the cusp of being really good players. How do you like your depth?
I agree with what you just said. And I think starter gets overemphasized, especially at the defensive line position. And especially you guys hear me talk about the lone wolf guys, the pack show. I say it all the time. But that's the thing. If our pack isn't strong, we're not going to be where we need to be. And you're right. We have more potential in that room for more starter quality in that room than ever before since I've been here. We have more guys in there that have the potential to be starter quality. They might not be the first guy on the field, but when we snap it, but when they're on the field, they play like starters. And that's what I'm trying to give here. Our gift to the team is that no matter what down it is, no matter what the situation is, you look out on the field and you see quality. You can depend on quality from your defensive line. And I think this more than any year we have the potential to have that. If there's no weak link, we have starter quality at all times.
Is there an alpha dog emerging in the group, or is there already established?
No, I'm just
Well, besides
absolutely. The leader of the group is Matus, and I think that's a big thing of what we tried to establish is treat leaders like leaders even before they're leaders. And so we've empowered Mike, we depended on Mike, we really trusted him, and he emerged naturally because it's a natural thing. The guys that's most dependable, that's a good player, it's a good man, that's who the guys gravitate to for their direction. But we also got some other guys, the younger guys that are coming up. But if I were to say there's one guy I could say is the leader of the group right now, Mike would be that guy. There were other guys like TJ Pesafea, you couldn't say that 2 years ago. He's emerged as a leader in that group. And there's others too, but those two guys, to me right now, I think they deserve to be shot out in that regard because they've earned it.
There's some guys in that group I think they're trying to really muscle each other. Like, so if there's a 1-ton boulder in the middle of the field when you come out to practice on Wednesday, is it Robbie Harrison or Jalil Harvey that needs to move that boulder?
I don't know. We're about to find that out. I think Jalil can bench it, and I think Robbie can squat it. So I think that's how it's working right now. But now we just got to put it all together. But we got some man strength in that room, and some guys. It's always nice to have guys. But the game of football is not bench and squat. It's on every other angle. We got to teach them to be strong and balanced in those deals, and that's the thing. Is you can have somebody who looks like I said, well, it not just looks like Tarzan, it looks like Zeus in the weight room. But once those linear lines are taken away and they're playing on all these angles, they look uncoordinated. And so that's what we got to get. But I do believe both those players are going to be great players for us. And I think the sooner we can get them balanced, understanding what we teach, the better off they're going to be. But it is nice to have it. I mean, to have the bullet to shoot, that's for sure.
For a guy like Nesta, who was limited in spring, still trying to probably get his bearings a little bit here in Tempe, just what are your expectations for him these next couple of weeks as you get ready for the season? So
my expectations are really based on statistics or participant. My statistics are on effort and performance, and that's the biggest thing is what are we putting together every day? Is it a winning contribution every single day? And then you let the score take care of itself. So I don't like to put numbers on these guys because I can both put a ceiling on them and I can also be, like I said, making that too hard for them. I don't understand. We'll see what the situation is going to be, but what I expect from him is to be available. And that's something in his career that if there's one thing that he can notch off and get us to depend on and get the next level to understand about him is that he's going to be available. And just the more that he's available every day, getting better in our scheme. The guy's fast. The guy's a great football player. We already know that. Okay? There's a lot of good football players in the world. My concern is that is he doing everything to be great within our technique, and is he doing everything to truly buy into our technique? Everything he's done so far says yes. And so the biggest thing for him is I don't need him to go out and get 10 sacks week 1 and then shut it down. I need him to be a consistent butt kicker for the entire duration of this season and to lead with his energy and lead with his enthusiasm and lead with his maturity because he's been there, done that. He's been a hell of a teammate so far. He's been a hell of a contributor to the room, and so I expect him to do that. But the health of that dude has held him back so far, and we just need to be smart about him as well, that we're not just throwing him out there to the wolves and putting him in a position to mess that up. We got progress going, got to be smart, got to do it the right way, but that's why we get paid the big bucks to do it that way. So.
I know that Anthony Cooper is one player that maybe kind of like somewhat went under the radar. When I interviewed you back in the spring, you told me as far as rushing the passer, he was number 1 just in that statistical category. How do you feel he can really take the next step in 2022 with a pretty dang good 2021 behind him?
Yeah, he needs to be a finisher, and he's a guy who got to the point of contact quite a bit, did a heck of a job doing it. And so Coop is kind of created for others more than he's created for himself. And I want him to finish the plays. You know, I want him when he's in a position to strike. And when he's in a position to finish. And that's the thing, is everybody looks at sack numbers and they forget about him because they say, well, he didn't get the sacks. What people don't realize is, hell, they can snap the ball, right? And nobody blocks me. Quarterback don't see me. I get the sack, right? Put it up. It happens 5 times. I got a 5-sack year. If I beat my guy every single time, I don't care if I beat him within a second. That quarterback can get the ball out. You play Drew Brees, they don't even have to block you. That dude can get the ball out. That's how fast these guys can release the ball. So because of that, sack numbers are an illusion. But the times so you can't really grade them every down on a sack, because you get 10 sacks out of 300 rushes a year. But I can grade you every single time on whether or not you beat the man in front of you. And Coop beat his man more than anybody else. What I'd like for him is to get to that second level, win the rush, get the guy down on the ground. Been a couple times where he's been at the point of contact, didn't quite finish it, and that's where the next step for him is. And being a dominant run defender, because he's a good run defender. He's probably the next best end playing the run next to Mike Matus. Mike Matus, I can get him up out of bed at 3 in the morning. He can play the run. And Coop adds that element. If he can get to that level, and he's a good pass rusher. Plus, Coop has position versatility. I can move him inside during pass rush downs, and we can create that way. So Coop has a lot of things going for him. The one thing that I want to see this year is him to take that next step, which is just finish the plays, and then get that quarterback on the ground, get the running back on the ground, cause fumbles, do things like that, because good is the enemy of great, and he's been really good. I want him to be great.
My vote for the X-factor player on defense was Omar Norman Lott. I mean, do you feel that a big season by Omar can really have that unbelievable trickle-down effect for the rest of the line and the rest of the defense?
Yeah, and then, you know, for me, the 3 technique position is that spark plug. And the 3 technique position is something that, you know, when I got here and I moved Jermaine to 3, I got a lot of heat for that. Oh, he's our best end, he's our best end. Like, y'all trust me, this thing is where you want him to be. And sure enough, it showed up. Even for Omar, he was an end. Moved him to 3. Took him a while to really, it's called the jungle for a reason. Once you go inside them tackles, it's coming from the trees, coming up from the grass, coming out the river. There's danger everywhere. So it's a tough transition for some of those ends to make. It was tough for Omar to make. I couldn't be more proud of where Omar is mentally and maturity-wise. Obviously, him getting into the transfer portal, coming back, says a lot about him. And for me, it's one of the greatest things a player's ever done for me is for him to say, hey, coach, you're more important than money. That's tough, man. That's tough. And so he loves this place, loves his teammates, and it shows. I've been really proud of him. The thing I want for him more than anything is to be that Energizer Bunny, that spark plug. And the guy, I got him and BJ there. So there's a ton of energy right there, and there's a ton of ability, a ton of quickness. There's guys who can light the stadium on fire. When guys are like that are going, they're unblockable. And for a nice little stretch in spring ball, he really was unblockable. And if we can get him there every week, keep him healthy, and keep him focused, I'd love for him to have a great year because he really does deserve it.
What did that bowl game do for BJ?
Oh, it was huge. It was huge. I think more than anything, BJ doesn't lack confidence. So BJ's one of those dudes, it's really rare he has a bad day. He really doesn't have a bad day. But it was great to put him on that stage and give him a couple more bites at the apple. And when a kid pays the price during the year, the bowl game is the best opportunity to say, go ahead and go. I thought Omar Norman Lott had his best game there. I thought Shannon Foreman for his last game had a great game because he came and played nose and 3 technique. You know, there's a bunch of guys along there. Joe Moore had a heck of a game and did a lot of. Coop had a really good game. So those guys earned it. And so really the best thing for BJ was getting that many bites at the apple. Because you want to say, well, you got him confidence. I didn't. He had it. And he already had it. What I did was give him a couple more shots to go out there and show what he can do. A kid coming straight out of high school, an undersized guy playing 3 technique, we had to protect him to make sure he didn't hurt himself. And we did. He actually got a little bit hurt in that game. So we were smart, and I'm proud that we did that. We got him that far. But he deserved to roll in that game, and he did. And he did a lot of good things for us. So it's kind of fun when a guy like that gets the recognition for that. So that was the best part.